Back at it again. All right, this is an old story, but it's true, and it's a doozy. Let's see. I was driving in 1980, wintertime. I'm going to guess it was probably January or February of 1980. Driving a cab over Freightliner. My lead driver was an old, grouchy, hard to get along with guy. He was in the bunk. I was driving with the CB radio turned down so it wouldn't bother him. And I was over my hours. And I was driving north into Minnesota. Like I said, I had the CB turned down, so it was just about the crack of dawn, and I was in the left of two lanes, passing trucks, and I'd see them, flashing their lights at me, and I had tunnel vision, by the way. I was kind of tired. I was just like, can't wait to get to where we're going. I'm going to go to bed, lay across the doghouse. Those Freightliners were really good, the older ones, with a nice big doghouse you could lay right across. It was very comfortable. And so I see these trucks flashing their lights in my right mirror, and I just, yeah, thank you, flicking my thank you lights to them, And I see them getting off, and I go, wow, must be a big industrial exit. And all of a sudden, man, I see this guy in an orange jumpsuit running down the hill, waving his arms like he's doing jumping jacks. Red bearded guy with an orange jumpsuit running down, man. I was like, oh crap, scale, man. Oh man, I was, like I said, I was pretty tired, kind of just banking it. So I pulled over on the side of the road, turned up the radio. State trooper comes on the radio. He's in the scale house, and he says, way on the other side, if you're legal, come back over here. So about that time, the old crotchety Ratchet, he gets out of the bunk. What the hell did you do? And he's getting in the jump seat there, passenger seat. We called it the jump seat. And he's putting on his boots there, and the orange jumpsuit guy's looking at us all pissed off, and that's DOT guy. And so I said, well, I missed the scale. He said, what? How the hell did you miss the scale? So anyway, got off the next exit, turned around, went over the overpass, went on the scale on the other side, legal, got off the other exit, came back, and all this time this guy's yapping away. And so I get up into the scale house, and he said, you realize how much the fine is if you miss a scale in Minnesota? Now, this is 1980, $450, all right? I was thinking, man, I can't afford that. That's like a paycheck. So we're getting off, and I'm thinking, God help me, not only did I miss the scale, I'm over on my log driving, I was speeding. Nationwide speed limit was 55 back then. And if you remember that stupid law, it took 20 years to get rid of that stupid law. Anyway, so we go into the scale house, and they were busy, man. There was a long line of truckers waiting for that at the desk of the state trooper there. So I walk in, state trooper waves me up to the front. He said, you, come up here. I was like, wow, going ahead of the whole line, huh? And the old guy goes around the other side, and he said, let me see your logbook, your permits, your license. I put it all on the table. And meanwhile, over on the right side, this knucklehead DOT guy, by the way, that's called Death on Truckers back then, DOT. They did not like truckers for the most part. Most of them were scumbags. Not all of them. Even today, you'll find a lot of these guys that are just, they got an agenda against truckers. But anyway, this guy's yelling over to the state trooper, holding up four fingers like, 4 eyes, 4 eyes. And my driver's saying, you saw me jump out of the seat, out of the sleeper into that seat. Now, 4 eyes means two guys in their seats One guy's driving, one guy's in the passenger seat. They're both up against, the windshield, basically. That means 4 eyes. And the guy in the jump seat, it's 4 eyes. And the state trooper yells over, "Shut up over there." And he really meant the DOT guy. I can tell you that. And so it got quiet. So the state trooper book, he says, "You've been driving for a while, haven't you?" In other words, I was over my hours. And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "How fast were you going when you came across the state line there? You're coming by here." Well, first of all, he said, why did you not stop at my scale? It's like a castle on a hill. It was nothing small. And it was like, man, that's about the dumbest thing you ever heard. You missed this place? I said, "Yes, sir, I missed it." And he said, "How fast were you going?" And I said, 65. He said, "What's the speed limit?" I said, 55. He said, "That's right." And he pushed all my paperwork to me. And he said, "Next time you come across my state line, you do 55. You do the speed limit." He said, "You stop at the scale next time." He said, "Now you go back in that truck, you go to sleep, and you let the other guy drive. You got it?" I said, "Yes, sir." I was like, what? This guy's getting me off on all this? He's letting me off? I turn around with all my paperwork. All these truckers are there literally with drop jaw, eyes wide open like, what? You just got away with all of that, man? About the only thing I didn't get wrong was being overweight. So anyway, I walk up to where my old rickety driver is, and the guy, I swear to God, I wish I could have taken a picture of this. This DOT cop with a red beard, he was gritting his teeth so hard. He was so mad that state trooper let me off completely, off the hook. He literally was like, "Ugh!" He was red beat face. He had his veins popping in his neck. His teeth were gritting together, man. He wanted to kill us, man. and we just walked out. And we're walking quietly for a bit, And then finally my driver says, my lead driver, he says, "Well, I ain't never seen anything like that there." He said, "You must have some kind of connection with the man upstairs. And I ain't never seen anything like that." And I said, "Well, I did pray. And even though I didn't know the Lord really well back then, I did know that it was a God. I prayed. He got me out of that." So that was probably the biggest one. Hey, April. And hey, Julie. So I told Julie these stories the other night. So here's the other story. I was driving solo sometime later, same company, and I had the Whistler on the dash, the radar detector, and I thought I knew where all the cops were, man. I was listening to CB. I think I was going across I-70, and man, I come up over the top of this hill, and there's a cop pulling right into the median right there, right as I came over the top of the hill. Now, normally that radar detector, when it starts detecting a cop a ways off, it'll start beeping slow every once in a while. It'll beep until it gets high frequency. That was the old Whistler, a big box with a red light on it that would blink with the beeping. And that thing, as soon as I got up over the hill, man, that thing went like, man, this guy got me so bad. And I saw his car lurch, man. I saw the white of the guy's eyes looking right at me. I said, oh, man. I pulled over in the breakdown lane. I said, heck with this, man. I'm pulling over right now. He doesn't even have to chase me, So I pull over in the right lane, gather all my paperwork, my permits, my license, everything, my logbook. I go back there, bill of lading, everything. And I'm walking back, and there's two cops in that car. One old guy and one guy in his 30s with a big pot belly and a chop block, square top haircut. he comes walking up to me, and I got all my paperwork. He said, "Let me see your logbook, boy." I said, "Yes, sir. Here it is." And he said, "How fast were you going, boy?" I said, 72. He said, "Oh, what's the speed limit, boy?" I said, 55. He said, "What's your hurry, boy?" And I laughed. And he said, "You think it's funny?" I said, "No, sir. No, sir." He said, "All right, give me your story." And I'm thinking, all right, does he want me to tell him a comical story, like something getting him to laugh, or does he want the truth? And I just said, heck with it, I'll just tell him the truth. I said, "Man, I haven't been home in 3 weeks. I'm going home." He looked at my logbook all the way back, man. Sure enough, hadn't been home in 3 weeks. And this is in Ohio, where you did not get away with anything like this. Of course, I had prayed to God, please don't give me a ticket. This guy hands me my logbook back, man. Oh, man, you talk about the favor of God. You know, it's been on me a long time, like Julie told me the other night when I told her this story. She's a friend of mine out of Michigan. I'm telling you, man, I couldn't believe that. That's a story that back then, 1980, right up until they finally got rid of that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, Ohio kept it for the longest time. And, you know, in Ohio, you did not get breaks from Ohio State Troopers typically. So that was another amazing story. So, yeah, that's the 2 free stories for today. Let me see if I can read your comments there, April. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Trying to put on the glasses with... Darn it. Hold on a minute. All right. Yep, amazing it is, right? All right, April. Yeah, I'll stay safe. Actually, I delivered here in Houston this morning. I loaded out of Savannah. I could not find a load for 3 days out of Charlotte to go to Savannah. So I deadheaded down there. The guy I got the load from, he's a good guy, good broker, and it paid good. I only had 12.5-foot machine. I could not find anything to go on my bottom deck all the way out here. Of course, I loaded Friday, so I couldn't stop along the way, so that kind of limited everything. And then I'd been watching the loads coming out of here. It's supposed to be a busy place, but the load board rates are pretty darn terrible. I saw one load, R&R Express, believe it or not. This load paid, I thought it was halfway decent, at $1.93 a mile. I forget where it was going. So I went down and looked in the comments. 5 picks, 1 drop, and they're trying to pay $1.93 a mile. R&R Express, screw you, man. Taking advantage. So anyway, that's it for right now. I'll see what comes up for tomorrow for loads. I got one good broker at Sherway that might get something decent out of here. So let me take a look at what you're saying there. Okay. All right, girls. Anybody else watching, take care.